My next guest is a Cornell University law professor and founder of equalprotect.org. William Jacobson, welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me back.
I kind of defined this Hunter Biden plea agreement as a slap on the wrist without the slap.
Well, I think that's right. He essentially gets away with everything. He gets away with things that might have sent somebody else to prison, might have resulted in felony prosecutions as opposed to felonies being downgraded to misdemeanors and diversion. I think the easiest test here is if his name were Hunter Trump, how would he be treated? And it would be very different than he was treated. And that's really what I think has people very upset, that it's not so much that Hunter Biden's getting the wrong deal from the government. It's just that that is not a deal that would have been available to any of the political opponents of the Biden administration.
But what if your name was Kodak Black or Wesley Snipes? I mean, Wesley Snipes pulled 3 years in prison for exactly what Hunter Biden is charged with. Kodak Black had to be commuted by Donald Trump for lying on his firearms form as well, illegal weapons possession. I mean, illegal weapons possession is serious. Lying on that federal form is serious stuff.
That is, and that's more outrageous here than really the tax offense, because many people have gone to jail for failure to pay taxes or willful failure to pay taxes, usually at a much larger scale. But it's that lying on the federal form for an administration that wants to crack down on otherwise lawful gun owners, that wants to turn lawful gun owners into felons by changing what sort of firearms are acceptable or lawful. So it's particularly bad because those are the sort of offenses the federal government goes after very seriously, and it could have been charged with many additional offenses: conspiracy to defraud the government, lying to the government, perjury. If they wanted to, they could have loaded up a boatload of charges against him. Instead, they are essentially saying, well, we're going to let it go that you lied on your firearms form.
Let me ask you this. Jack Smith's case rests largely on this tape of Biden, of Trump sitting in his Bedminster golf course saying, yeah, I've got these documents here and I can't declassify them. And he said to Brett Baer, he goes, I was talking about like just stuff in the box, like newspaper articles. I mean, he could have been, we haven't heard the context of this tape. Was he being facetious? Was he waving around a cocktail napkin? We have no idea. But the government's case here is that they've got him on tape admitting that he's got documents that are not declassified and he can no longer declassify them. Allegedly, there are 17 recordings of the Bidens setting up a series of payments for what ultimately became Joe Biden bragging that he was going to withhold $1 billion in U.S. foreign aid if Ukraine didn't stop the investigation into Burisma. Do you think what we're seeing with Hunter Biden is a way of saying, look, we did, justice was done, no one's above the law, let's not have a witch hunt here? It seems like this is a way of just heading off at the pass any further investigation of Joe Biden.
Well, that might be part of it, and I think that's likely true. This Hunter Biden deal is to put to rest a major problem for the Biden family. And whether the government does anything more, whether all of these tapes are ever released, whether all of the evidence is ever released, remains to be seen about the Biden family potential corruption. But that it certainly does seem like this is a sweeping under the rug of the Biden family problems, because Hunter Biden, it's not just his problem, it's his family problem. He was one of the middlemen through which money was funneled to other family members. So there is a very deep Biden family problem here, and the government has shown no indication that it's going to go after them with a fraction of the ferocity that various levels of government are going after, not just Donald Trump, but his family, his businesses, and other things. And that's what's really upsetting here, to look at this situation.
Well, is it telling that the FBI, to the frustration of Republicans, is withholding unclassified information as it relates to this oil magnate, this oligarch in Ukraine, who says, yeah, I paid Joe Biden $5 million. If the documents in question are not classified, why is the FBI, the Justice Department, withholding them?
Because when they want to slow walk things, they do. So I think that's The why is in some ways the answer. They are slow walking it because it's the president's family, would implicate the president, would put them in a very difficult position, which is typically the policy of the Department of Justice is not to indict a sitting president. But what would they do if they released to the public information showing that Joe Biden was part of a criminal conspiracy? In fact, he might have been the big guy in the conspiracy. So I think the government is trying, the federal government, the law enforcement is slow walking things related to the Biden family because it creates a lot of political and legal problems for them if they go forward with it.
Well, I think the answer here is that Article 2 has a provision about what happens if a president is involved in bribery, and this information should be made available to the general public in Congress so they can use that Article 2 remedy if you can't indict a sitting president. I got to leave it there, sir. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you.